from an intake perspective, you can't really disrupt the apple cart too much because this is your lifeblood. So for us, it was how do we create like a Chrome extension, for example, that just basically sits on the side of where a client is working today and prompts them with the right information.
Terry, generally speaking, law firms find legal tech implementation either difficult, scary, or hard. What advice would you give them when it comes to embracing legal tech, specifically case intake technology?
When we founded Litify, we would have to go out and explain to clients that this is kind of like childbirth. Literally, it's going to be a 9-month gestation period and then a lot of discomfort, but you're going to have an amazing baby on the other side of it that's going to grow and do all these amazing things. But there was a lot of truth to that. Lessons learned, though, is that from an intake perspective, you can't really disrupt the apple cart too much because this is your lifeblood. This is how you're making money. This is really how the firm is going to be successful and grow and literally keep the lights on. So when we are looking at now, how do we implement products that are not going to be disruptive in terms of the day-to-day, but provide a lot of value? At Lexafide, we looked at it as how can we take a tabletop type of version of our product where we're going to layer it on top of anything that you might have in place right now. I'm a huge believer in interoperability, meaning that the systems that are in place today, you have to be able to talk to them in an effective way, pull the data properly, assess it, use it, kind of have bi-directional syncs between these systems so anybody looking at them will understand what's going on with the case, where to get the right information, how to collaborate with their teammates, how to reach out to clients, but do that in a way that's really not going to be that totally disruptive, sort of change management element that's not needed. So for us, it was how do we create like a Chrome extension, for example, that just basically sits on the side of where a client is working today and prompts them with the right information or gives them the right answers based on the information that's in the system.
The intake system, as clearly you recognize, it's sort of like the low man on the totem pole for some reason, yet it's the first impression that these clients get when they call a law firm. Maybe the marketing worked, but if that intake process and technology isn't up to par, that client's going to go somewhere else. So we're seeing more and more law firms recognize that they need to invest in new technology to support the intake process that has changed most recently.
A lot of technologies purport to make that process easier. We being one of them, but it's a huge focus for us at Lexafide is to enable firms to really do that outreach to their clients, but do it in a way that they're not losing a human touch. You don't want to talk to a robot when you've just been injured, is what I hear all the time, which obviously that's true. However, simple touch points and reminders, for example, to do them or some ability to automate that.
I agree, and I hope more firms come on Lexafide and use your technology. It's going to make our job easier, our collateral more secure, so keep up the great work.